30 years ago when ACT was formed, they had one goal, and that was just go out and buy conservation land. But as ACT evolved, it became a much more diverse and interesting organization. They started to think about social goals, started to think about how do we get kids back out in the environment enjoying it. Now they've got women in the woods and bringing more minorities into contact with nature and the environment. So ACT has become almost like a environmental and conservation incubator.
So ACT is a nonprofit land conservation organization that was established in 1988 with the idea to protect the natural, historic, scenic, and recreational resources of north central Florida. Our focus really is on sort of three areas. One of them is doing actual land acquisition work. The other component that we're doing now as an organization is, as we've grown, has been actually doing the habitat restoration on property. So another component, that's sort of the third component of the organization, is doing environmental education.
Land conservation is something that is almost always started by locals, natives, people who love what they have here, hate to see it kind of going away, and they band together and say, what can we do?
In 2000, Alachua County voters passed Alachua County Forever. It was a bond in order to protect land here in Alachua County, and Robert Hutchinson was really sort of the father of that program, and ACT really assisted with raising money primarily to try to make sure that voters had the education that they needed to make a decision. So I was executive director at the time, and one of the things that we did was we established the Conservation Stewards Awards really as an annual fundraiser. And that has been one of the things that I think really has built the community around ACT. So then in 2008, when I was honored to be Gainesville's mayor and Hutch was on the county commission, together we sort of worked on developing the program that became Wild Spaces Public Places. And it's a half-cent sales tax, but it was to fund not only land conservation, but also active recreation and trails and even improvements at schoolyards here in Alachua County. And then in 2016, it was brought back and the county put it back on the ballot and voters overwhelmingly approved it again. And ACT in those two timeframes was really critically important. It has actually led to, I mean, every year the half-cent sales tax raises in Alachua County something north of $30 million. It just feels great to be able to leave a legacy of land conservation, trails, parks, public land programs, which I'm really proud of the programs that have been built here in Alachua County with ACT's help.
As of today, Alachua Conservation Trust has helped conserve more than 55,000 acres of land. We're doing a lot more outreach to continue to grow that. And we have projects as far away as Okaloosa County and going back in and trying to restore that habitat to what they were before European settlement.
The reason people do land conservation and fall in love with it and are incredibly passionate about it is it's protecting the very special places that make us the place we are. My personal story is I grew up out on Noonan's Lake and spent every day either out on a boat or horseback riding, and Prairie Creek was the place that I played as a kid. And when I started at ACT, not a bit of it was protected at all. It was all in private ownership, and who knows what was going to happen to it. Today, 100% of Prairie Creek is now in some sort of protected ownership. The key to the future of conservation is making sure that the next generation and the one that follows that reveres land and wants to protect it. You have to pay attention to the next generation and giving them experiences. So we started the Tuscaloosa Learning Center, for instance, which is little kids playing outdoors with a little bit of adult attention, but not too much. Just let them explore. And we opened up our preserves to scouting and so forth. We view them as how can we get people out here to love and enjoy them, as opposed to how can we lock them up and somehow think we can keep them pristine because there's not people out here.
I think one of the things I'm most proud of working here at ACT is being able to get up every day and be passionate about what I do. and really working with landowners to achieve their conservation goals.
I don't know what more we could really be doing with our time here on Earth other than leaving a legacy to people for generations to come.